Joao Pedro, you're him, bro. You're him. You're him. Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. But there it is. Chelsea 3, Napoli 2.
Yeah, baby.
We absolutely take that. Joao Pedro puts us on his back, puts on the cape, turns back the clock. It's looking like the Club World Cup all over again. I'm starting to suspect that there are two different Joao Pedros. There's the one that doesn't even shoot, and then there's the one that scores absolute bangers. There's just no in between. I'm starting to think he has like a charging up period where he had to save all his shots. So he went months without really taking shots. He had to save all those shots because in January he said, you know what, I just gotta unload it. So hopefully it means he's good for the rest of the season. I don't want to see another charging up period because we're gonna need these goals to come quickly these days. But like I said, Chelsea 3, Napoli 2. Let's get into the game. But like, subscribe, all that good algorithm stuff would be much appreciated. I'm a little late on this match reaction because I was watching the end of the Madrid Benfica game. Oh my God, that was cinema. That was absolute cinema. Shout out Benfica. Jose, that's my guy. That's my GOAT. So, hey man, that was cinema if you haven't seen the end of that game. But back to Chelsea. Not gonna lie, it wasn't comfortable. It was not comfortable at all. We knew coming into this game, a win is amazing for us, of course. But a draw, we could get by with, maybe depending on what else happens. And a loss, for me, a loss, a draw, doesn't really matter. Then we'll probably just end up in the playoffs. And at that point, what does it matter? We need to go for the win. But things can play out a certain way. We're going to talk about the table toward the end because it was cinema, the way that the spots were moving. I love these last days where you don't know where it's going to go. And as things were developing, we needed to just go for the win. And I'm glad that we did. But let's talk about the game. First half, I wasn't impressed. I mean, generally, I wouldn't say we were that amazing, but first half, obviously, we get the penalty. Reece James we had a free kick. Reece James took it. It hits the guy. He's kind of bringing his arm back down, hits him as it's going through. Maybe some people would say it's harsh. I don't know, but it's a pen. Enzo Fernandez on the pen takes it, buries it. Great pen. We absolutely take that 1-0. But really, even though we got that pen, I wouldn't say we were like dominant. We had chances, but nothing crazy. Napoli had their chances. They were moving a bit brazy in that first half. And you could feel the momentum was going their way, going their way, going their way. And eventually, it went their way. They ended up getting an amazing goal. Shout out, was it Antonio Vergara? Man, that was a goal. To be fair, our defending wasn't the best there, but he goes through. I think Caicedo tries to put in a tackle from behind, isn't able to get it. Then he puts a little spin move, a little classic spin move, on Fofana it was. Fofana got absolutely cooked. It was hard to watch. It was hard to watch Fofana. And I rate Fofana when he's healthy, he's a solid center back, but damn, bro got spin cycle. It was hard to watch and a good finish, puts it past Sanchez. So, Sanchez was keeping us in this game. Honestly, they could have had a few more. Sanchez was making some big saves early. And he made a big save late too, we'll talk about. But yeah, that was an amazing goal. Shout out to him. And then of course they keep the pressure up, keep the pressure up. I was just trying to see it out. When we reached like 40 minutes, I was like, okay, we just gotta see out this half. They're cooking. We're not cooking. Let's, let's just see it out, get to halftime. Because you saw our lineup. I actually don't mind the lineup. I mean, we have Reece James in at center back next to Fofana, Gusto here, and it meant Gusto could push up because Esteval is going to cut inside. Gusto's going to hold that width, and then these three are going to play in the back three. Sometimes cucurella will push up and Gusto would sit back a bit, but mostly it was Gusto pushing up. Or maybe if they both push up, Santos would drop in between them to kind of hold that space, and Caicedo got to go box to box. Obviously, Enzo pushing. But so it was interesting. It was an interesting lineup. I'd like to see Rosenior experimenting a bit, but in actual practice, it wasn't really creating as much as I would hope. So when Napoli were putting the pressure on, they get something down the left side. They play it across the box, and Rasmus Hojlund, I don't know what he was doing at Manchester United. I mean, really, that's a United issue. Hojlund before United was a solid player, or solid like player that was growing. United went and stunted his potential a bit, but out of Napoli, that's the goal he scored was real striker number 9 movement. Coming from the center, coming out across the box, across the goalkeeper, onto his strong foot, hits it hard into the net. Sanchez can't really do anything about that. 2-1, and all of a sudden we went from the lead, the control, and then we're now definitely in the playoffs. They went and made a comeback on us in their stadium. Felt like everything was against us. But Liam Rosenior, I give you your credit. Going into halftime, he makes some changes. Cole Palmer on for Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto was not doing much. I'm so glad you took him off. Pedro Neto, I feel bad. I feel like people dog on him a lot, and I get why. He hasn't been great recently. He's had his moments with Chelsea, but if you just look at where he wants to play or how he wants to play, the puzzle doesn't quite fit. And then we brought in a young stud, an Esteval, who wants to play really where Pedro Neto wants to play. Then we have Palmer, who's going to play in those positions. That forces Neto into a space where he just looks uncomfortable. Honestly, I didn't think he would look this uncomfortable on the left. It's not great. He did have one cross to Joao Pedro, but it was a little high. Joao Pedro couldn't really do much with it. He went off at halftime. I'm not mad at that. Bring on Cole Palmer. Show us a little something different. Palmer comes on. He goes on to the right. Esteval goes on the left. Enzo's still in the middle. I don't mind that. I'm not going to lie. I've been talking about this ideal lineup for a while. I'm not mad at that. That lineup right there. That's interesting because Esteval is way more impactful, on either side than Pedro Neto. So I'm not mad at that. But Palmer comes on. We still don't really, nothing much really changes though in reality. Time felt like it was flying by. Napoli just had control of the game. They looked pretty solid. We keep it going, keep it going. We bring on Gittins. That allows Enzo to drop back as Santos comes off. It allows Enzo to drop back into the pivot with Caicedo. Now it's Gittins, Esteval, Palmer. Gusto comes off. That lets Reece James move out to right back. And Chalobah slots in. Fofana goes across the right center back. I don't mind that either. I'm curious about that. Gittins, Palmer, Esteval, Joao Pedro is an interesting front four, and it might be our best front four. It's hard because Gittins ends up coming off later. I think maybe had a knock or something, or maybe just we wanted to see out the game. But I'm not mad at that front four. I think in terms of actually penetrating teams, that might be our best. I think Neto / Garnacho provides something in transition, or if a team has possession against us, we need to spread the defense. That's something that they have their utility in that sense. But in terms of if you just want to break a team down, and then this time we needed that, we needed a goal. I'm not mad at those subs. So in-game management so far, I've been impressed with Liam Rosenior for the most part. But that leads us up to Joao Pedro. Joao Pedro. What a goal. What a goal. Palmer plays it into him. He got to make something out of it. And then, I don't even know how many yards out, well outside the box, going to his left, shoots it with his weak foot across goal into the top right corner.
Yeah, baby.
Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Joao Pedro, take a bow, son. Take a bow. That is a banger. Absolute banger. And like I said at the start of the video, I don't know where that came from because this dude's either not shooting or he's scoring bangers. It's actually insane. They go and try to make some changes. Now it's 2-2. They have to go and win the game. We, at this point, we need to go and win the game from the sense that it didn't really make any sense, draw or loss. It's pretty much the same to us, so we needed to go win the game. We bring on Alejandro Garnacho for Esteval. I'm not mad at that either. I mean, Esteval, he wasn't going crazy this game. I think Garnacho provided a little bit something different in the middle. Interesting experiment. when he came on, Gittins on the left, Garnacho in the middle, Palmer on the right. And I'm actually not mad at it. I think maybe it's because we're playing against this back three. It was there were some spaces in between the center backs when we were in transition or just had opportunities to run at them where Pedro and Joao Pedro and Garnacho are both running at the center back and filling in these gaps. And it allows Palmer to more fill a creative role when they're running at him. I actually wasn't mad at that. And it ended up materializing later on where Palmer gets it. He plays it to Pedro, plays it back to Palmer, and he puts it through. Beautiful pass through to Joao Pedro, who takes it himself. He has Garnacho as an option on his left, doesn't pass it to him, takes it himself, and a nice, clean striker's finish across the goalkeeper. 3-2, and we've made the comeback.
Yeah, baby.
Hey, man. This is what you want to see. This is what you want to see. Chelsea all season have been a team where we just, I mean, you could say this game too. We were a little sleepy in the first half and came alive in the second half, but have been a team where no lead is safe. And you can say that for them, you can say that for us. It's just a little chaotic. And this game, when we lost the lead and then went down, it was feeling like, okay, another one of those games where we should have seen it out and we didn't. But second half, we showed some fight. It's kind of similar to the Arsenal game in the Carabao Cup. Obviously, we didn't end up getting the result in that one, but we showed some fight. And this one, we fought all the way back to the win. At that point, we see it out. Like I said, Gittins comes off. Lukaku had a chance, laid on, a cutback. He takes it. And Sanchez with a great save, great positioning. Great to see that Lukaku did not score against us. That would have been rough to watch. And 3-2, Chelsea with the win. We absolutely take that. And that secures us a top 8 position because this was cinema. Absolute cinema. I don't know if there's a better way to watch the results. Here are the results here right now. These games were crazy. Arsenal 3-2 with Kairat Almaty. Not easy. I mean, I didn't watch the game, but the result at least looks that way. This Benfica Madrid game was cinema, absolute cinema. I only watched the end of it after the Chelsea game, but that ending was insane with the red card, the disallowed goal, and the goalkeeper scoring in the end. Crazy. Inter got their win, so they were making it interesting for us in those top 8 spots. Atleti lost to Bodo Glimt. Bodo Goat, man. Bodo Glimt has been cooking recently. Tottenham ended up 4th. I mean, Spurs just make no sense. I don't understand what's going on. Liverpool smacked them. City got their win, which was making it interesting for us because they were winning their game and we weren't. So at a point, it was looking spooky. But Sporting got their win, which they needed to. Also made it spooky for us. Bayern obviously got their win. PSG Newcastle. I didn't watch this game, but this was a very important game for us because they were both ahead of us going into this round. And this draw was a great result for us because we won. If we were going to draw, then we probably would have wanted one of them to win, one of them to lose. But we ended up getting the win, so this draw was great. We leapfrogged both of them, and they just didn't. Neither of them were able to see it out. So that forced PSG, Newcastle, and that Benfica game forced Madrid and then Inter. They got it done, but wasn't enough. They all got forced into the playoffs. Atleti also losing their game. But us, we got to leapfrog, go into 6th, which is absolutely we'll take that. Sporting up here and City clutch it up and go into the top 8. So it was cinema, absolute cinema. Now we don't have to play those extra games. I mean, extra games to watch, of course that's fun, but I'm not trying to watch extra games if it means a chance of going out. Let us, fixture congestion is enough as it is. Let us just go through to the next round. We see who's there, and we see if we can handle business then. Right now we have the Carabao Cup to focus on. We have the league to focus on. We're in a top 4 race. If we want to look at our fixtures, we got enough games to worry about. We got a nice run in the league coming up, but no games guaranteed. So we want to be fresh going into those games. I'd rather not have Champions League playoff games to play in between that as well. So let's go into those games. Big games coming up. Hopefully we can get some results. But hey, man, we take it. We take it. Big win today. Big win. Like, subscribe, all the good algorithm stuff. If you made it this far, it'd be much appreciated. Like I said, we'll be back for the West Ham game. The Arsenal game is massive next Tuesday. We'll be here for that as well. But hey, man, up the Chels, big win. I'll see you next time. Peace.